Chapter 44. Payton. We sit in a bed of red, the type that's sweet and soft, not sickening and sticky like I'm so used to. I stretch out my sore legs in front of me, feeling petals tickling my skin. We walked much farther across the field after finishing our dance, Kai's toes likely numb in his boots. I keep my back to the castle that is now very near, choosing to ignore the inevitable. How the hell did you do that? Kai's frustration seeps into his voice, something I'm sure he's unaccustomed to allowing. He's lying sideways, propped on an elbow as he wrestles with poppy stems. I snort at the sight of what is supposed to be a flower crown, watching it crumple in his hands. He nods to the nearly completed crown in my lap. How is yours not falling apart? Maybe, I say slowly, because I'm doing it right. The dull look he gives me has a laugh bubbling from my throat. Petals slip between his fingers as he fumbles to wrap the stems together. His words are a mumble under his breath. I can wield a sword in both hands, but I can't get these damn flowers to stay together. To be fair, I say, twisting the final flower into place, I've had lots of practice. Adina and I used to make these all the time out of dandelions. The thought brings a sad smile to my face as I admire my handiwork. I plop the crown on his head, adjusting it atop his black waves. There, back to being a prince. He smiles, distracting me with his dimples. I lie on my side, mirroring him as I prop myself on an elbow and stare up at the crown. The bright flowers contrast with every one of his features, soft and dainty where the rest of him is anything but. Here. He pulls a half-crushed flower from his hand. Fingers brush my hair as he tucks the stem behind my ear. Pretend it's a forget-me-not. That night of the last ball flashes in my mind, along with the memory of a kiss we almost shared. And to think we've shared more now, when we truly are meant to be enemies. We are quite good at pretending, I murmur, watching his face. He opens his mouth, as if to free words he's been trapping inside, but his eyes drift down to the length of my neck, following the curve of my exposed shoulder. The oversized shirt and tank strap now hang loosely down my arm from lying ungracefully on my side. His eyes narrow, looking like chips of ice as a storm begins to brew within them. The heart beating beneath his gaze stutters at the realization of what he sees. I sit up swiftly, yanking the shirt back over my shoulder. I press a hand to the fabric, ensuring that it's covering the mutilated mess beneath. Gray? His voice is cold. What the hell was that? I shake my head at him, hating the way I'm shrinking away. It's nothing. Then let me see it, he says, deceptively calm. He reaches a hand towards me, and I don't think before blocking it with my forearm. His eyes fly up to mine. A heartbeat passes. What was that? That, I say coolly, was a block. Would you like me to demonstrate a punch? He chuckles humorlessly. You can't be serious. Try me. He shakes his head, bewilderment painting his features. When he reaches again for the sleeve of my shirt, I push his hand down before sending my free fist flying towards his stomach. He blocks it easily, slowly letting his eyes climb up to mine. Are you really trying to fight me right now? Depends on whether or not you're going to keep your hands to yourself, I say, hiking my sleeve up farther. His eyes flick between mine, his words a whisper. What did he do to you? That question has every bit of pent-up rage rushing to the surface in the form of a swift punch to his jaw. I barely manage to nick the side of his face with my knuckles before he dodges. We're both on our knees now, breathing hard. Hey, he pants. I just want to know what happened. Another punch to his stomach, followed by one to his jaw that I manage to land. When I pull back for another, he grabs my wrist before I can do any more damage. I'm not going to fight you, he says sternly. I won't. Frustration tears from my throat, sounding like a growl. I push his chest with my free hand, hard enough to have him tilting back on his knees. Slamming my body against his, I send us toppling over poppies and onto the ground. I'm straddling him, panting down at the worry he's wearing. Why won't you fight me? My voice cracks, tears suddenly crowding my vision. Because the next time I lay a hand on you, I only ever want it to be in a caress, he says softly. I duck my head, squeezing my eyes shut against the flood of emotion there. I feel a calloused hand on my cheek and shake my head at the comfort I don't deserve. Please, he whispers. Show me. I let out a shaky breath, opening my eyes to the gray ones already looking at me. Then I slowly climb off him as he sits up, swallowing my pride to gently pull the layers of clothing from my shoulder. A cool breeze kisses my collarbone, as if to offer its sympathy. I haven't felt the sticky air on my skin since the king sliced me open outside the bowl. Kai's expression doesn't waver, as though he's slipped on a blank mask. There's a crack, though. There always is. I catch the muscle that twitches in his cheek, the flex of his hands. How did he do it? I attempt to swallow the lump in my throat. A sword? He sighs through his nose. After he dragged the blade down my neck, I continue, lifting my chin so he can see the familiar scar in the pale light. He told me he'd leave his mark on my heart, so I never forget who it was that broke it. He inches closer, eyes trained on the mangled skin beginning to scar. His voice is icy, sending a shiver down my spine. It's an O. I nod. For ordinary, he finishes, disgusted. He tortured you, and you didn't think to tell me? Would it have made a difference? I say, throwing my hands in the air. That doesn't make me any less of a criminal. It would have made you less of a murderer, he says harshly. Why did you hide this from me? Because, I stammer. Because I can barely stand to look at myself. Don't you understand? Tears sting my eyes, but I push on. He ruined me, marred me. For the rest of my life, I will look at this scar and think of the man I hated most. The man who had my father killed. The man who mercilessly killed ordinaries like me. The man who tried to murder me himself. I shake my head, looking anywhere but at him. I couldn't let anyone else see how he branded me, see the damage he did. I just couldn't. The hurt held in his gaze is almost too much to bear. Gray. Say my name, I whisper. Please. I know he hasn't said it since we escaped the prison, since I told him he lost the privilege of calling me it, and he's respected my rule ever since. But I crave the sound of my name on his tongue, and I want him to shout it from a rooftop, whisper it in my ear, trace it on my skin. I want my name to form a familiar shape in his mouth, tasting of my lips. I want him to own my name and still beg when he says it. Or maybe I just want him. Surprise seeps through his crumbling mask before relief washes it all away. A hesitant smile lifts his lips, as though I've just uttered the most beautiful words he's ever heard. He says my name like it's been on the tip of his tongue, whispered into every breath he's taken. Payton. Then he opens his arms. A quiet sob slips past my lips as I crawl into his lap. Strong arms fold round me before I bury my face in his bare chest. He runs a hand down my short hair, holding my neck as I shake against him. He didn't ruin you, Pay, he murmurs against my ear. The nickname sends a tear rolling down my cheek to splatter his chest. But you thinking so means that even in death, he wins. That scar is a testament of your strength. A testament of who you are, not what. I nod, curling closer again. Flowers swallow us as we sit there in silence, creating a pretty wall of petals. His body is warm, his arms a heavy comfort around me. We sit until darkness settles over us, his palm stroking my hair all the while. When the moon hangs low over us and my eyelids grow heavy, he gently slides me from his lap to lay out a bedroll. He all but lifts me onto it before lying down beside me, his shoulder brushing mine. I roll onto my side to face him despite the darkness. Thank you. He turns his head with what I'm sure is a smirk on his lips. That's 5 times now. And likely the last, I say with a smile. He looks back up at the stars, winking down at us. Scars. I blink. What? Scars, he repeats. Something else I've always had a thing for. Laughter seems to stutter in my throat, as if unsure whether it should come out of my mouth. He reaches over and gently flicks the tip of my nose, making me giggle in a way I didn't know I could. Plagues, I love that sound, he murmurs, making me fall silent. I would tattoo it into my skin if it meant you'd laugh at me for doing it. And I would, I say quietly. He chuckles before his lips press against my forehead, the kiss soft and sweet. Then he pulls me closer as I turn my back to him, allowing an arm to hook round my waist. Try not to dream of me, Pei, he whispers against my ear. You first, Prince.
Chapter 45. Kai. Today is the day. The panicked thought pulls me from my sleep. I open my eyes only to squeeze them shut against the blinding sunlight. I run a hand through my messy hair, roll my sore neck from a night of sleeping atop thick flower stems. Blinking up at the clear sky, the sun tells me we've slept plenty long enough. My eyes wander to the shadow spilling from its castle sitting far too close. The end of this mission is so near, and yet I'm not sure if I have the strength to finish it. But I'm chained to my duty, created to command. I was made for the king, not for her. I could never be worthy of her. My gaze sweeps back down the crushed flowers. As to be expected, Peyton is still fast asleep against my chest, hands tucked beneath her face and hair strewn impressively in every direction. Peyton. I earned her name back. It's relief to let it roll off my tongue after days of it trying to escape my lips. She's nothing but a tangle of limbs beside me. I hesitate to wake her, if only so I can stare at her longer. But I'd rather her company than anything else. I shake her shoulder. Nothing. Not surprising. I try again. This time, it earns me a grumble against her hand. The next attempt to wake her is met with a middle finger raised over her back. I chuckle, continuing to shake her. It's both impressive and alarming how you always manage to sleep so deeply. If you can sleep in the slums, she mumbles, you can sleep anywhere. She rolls over to face me, blinking groggily. I can't help but smile at the sight of her, so obliviously stunning. After several large yawns, she props herself on an arm to pick the flowers that droop over us. Looking down at me, she begins threading the flowers into my hair. A smile parts her lips, the type that is concerningly contagious. Making me pretty, Pei? She rolls her eyes, as if you need help with that. As soon as the words leave her mouth, she's pressing her lips together, regret coating her face. I smile at her in a way I know she likes, making her huff in annoyance. I always knew you thought I was pretty. Plagues, she mutters. Tell me, I say smoothly, running a lazy hand up and down her side. How is it you've been able to resist me for this long? Her laugh alone could cure the most corrupted parts of me, and that is exactly what it's done since the day I met her. Well, it hasn't been very difficult, Prince. I find that hard to believe. There's that laugh again. Well, maybe cocky bastards just aren't my type. Then tell me who you want me to be for you. Her hand stills in my hair, petals falling from her fingers. I watch her gaze soften with each silent second that passes. I don't want you to be anything that you're not. But what I am is not good enough for you, I murmur, looking up at the clouds shifting above us. And what about what I am not? Her question has my eyes flicking back to her face. What are you talking about? She slides her hand from where it was tangled in my hair. Have you forgotten what I am? What you are meant to do with me? I sit up, forcing her to do the same. And what is it you think I'm meant to do with you? Hate me! She shouts harshly, seeming to surprise herself with the outburst. Is that what you want? I ask, my voice low. You want me to hate you? She swallows her answer, saying nothing. Look me in the eyes and tell me to hate you, Peyton. Silence. I stand to my feet, laughing bitterly. Because I will. I will hate you if it means you spend the rest of your life thanking me for it. She stands slowly, avoiding both my gaze and the question she won't answer. I take a step towards her. 5 words. That is all I'm asking for. 5 words for you to tell me how you feel. I watch her eyes trail their way to mine. Then I listen to the 5 words that fall from her lips. Please just hate me. A pause. Asshole. Under different circumstances, I would have laughed. But instead, I breathe. Why? She shuts her eyes. Because it is easier that way. Easier to stay enemies than become anything more. I take a deep breath. It's a little late for that, don't you think? When she says nothing, I grab the bedroll and stuff it into her pack. A numb sort of mask slips over my features, keeping my face blank and voice even. Fine. We should be on our way then. She shakes her head, having found her voice. Don't do that to me. Don't go hiding under one of your masks so you can pretend not to see this. I run my hands through my disheveled hair, shaking my head. You want me without a mask? Her voice is strained. That is the only way I want you, Kai Azar. I take a step towards her, feeling stripped bare under the weight of her stare. It feels unnatural to let emotions paint my face, frustration crowd my features. But I let the mask shatter for her, leaving only the monster beneath it. Fine. Here's me without a mask, Peyton, I say, breathing heavily. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't have a choice. You always have a choice, she says harshly. Not in the life I was born into. The missions I'm sent on. I'm practically panting as the words tumble out of my mouth. You. She hesitates. Me. Yes, you. Something else I've always had a thing for. I let out a bitter laugh. I had no choice in the matter. Do you think I could have stopped if I tried? She shakes her head at me. Stop what?
Chapter 46. Peyton. Stop myself from falling in love with you. I choke on my next breath, air clogging in my throat. His chest is rising and falling in time with my own. My heart sputters back to life, beating hard against my ribcage. I shake my head at him, taking a step back. No, don't say that. I asked you not to make this harder than it has to be. And I told you that it already is, he says, voice harsh. Damn it, the minute you threw a dagger at my head, I knew I was done for. There was no longer a before you, only what I wanted with you. And what could that possibly be? I laugh bitterly. I'm an ordinary, you're an elite. Not out here, I'm not. I stare at him, startled by words I never thought I'd hear fall from his lips. Out here, I'm Kai and nothing more. His throat bobs. Out here, I am powerless. A monster without an ability to hide behind. An enforcer free from his masks. A man shouting his love for a woman. Kai. Pei. My name from his lips is a weakness I shouldn't let him hold over me. I think I would fall on my sword if it meant you mourned me, he breathes. And it's terrifying to think you hold that much power over me. He closes the distance between us, tilting my chin up so I meet his gaze. You asked me what my favorite color was once. I'd never even pondered the answer to that question before you, and yet I realized in that moment that it was blue. He bends to brush a kiss to my temple, a murmur against my skin. It is your eyes. I take a shaky breath, feeling his on my face. Tell me you hate me, and I'll still count every heartbeat, every freckle, every shiver of your body, if only you say it with a smile. He backs away, freeing my face from his hands. I may be a monster, but if you cut me, I'll bleed. And if you break my heart, Pei, you'll break me. So, if even a sliver of your soul longs for mine, I'll spend the rest of my life trying to deserve it. My eyes are glassy, rimmed with tears I'm too stubborn to let fall. The plea in his gaze is poetic. He flexes his hands at his side, as though it's an effort to keep them off me. I take in his hair of petals and eyes of ice that only seem to melt when they fall on me. Maybe you really are a poet, I whisper. He smiles softly. Or just a fool for you. Pretend? My voice is small, soft like the breeze blowing through my short hair. Never. None of it? I ask quietly. Darling, he smiles. I have never had to pretend to want you. His words have my heart stuttering before realization hits me. What about our fathers? I blurt. What we did to one another. I won't spend the rest of my life hating you for saving yourself, he sighs deeply. I know why you did what you did, and I hope you understand why I did the same. Words I thought I would never say are suddenly caught in my throat. I forgive you, Guy. I think I might have a while ago, because I can forgive you for what you didn't even know you were doing. His eyes flutter closed in relief. I wanted to kill you, I whisper, forcing his eyes open. I wanted to be your undoing, but even then, I knew I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I had. He inches towards me, head shaking and eyes roaming as though overwhelmed by what he is seeing. Oh, but you are my undoing, my deliverance, my downfall disguised as a deity. Another slow step. You are my ruin. I'm dazed, unable to do anything but let a smile tug at my lips. Call us even. Call me crazy, I don't care, just... His eyes are pleading, brimming with emotion. Just call me yours. We stare at each other for several thundering heartbeats. Flicking my nose, I breathe. His brows crinkle. What? Flicking my nose, I repeat simply. Something I've always had a thing for. Among others, of course. Understanding lights his eyes as a slow smile spreads across his lips, accompanied by dimples on either side. Go on, darling. That reminds me, I nod. Calling me darling? Cocky bastards. Long, dark eyelashes. I could melt from the heat in his gaze. Knowing what I need exactly when I need it. Ripping my dresses. Dimples that make me... In a single step, he's closed the distance between us and pulled my mouth to his. He kisses me deeply, breathing me in. I melt against him, memorizing the feel of his hands running over my body. I press a hand to his cheek while one of his finds my hair, threading it between his fingers. I pull away just far enough to pant. Have you really counted my freckles? All 28 of them, he breathes before kissing me hard. Though you might have more now from the sun. Another quick kiss. I'll have to do a recount. My laugh has him pulling me closer, nipping at the tip of my nose with his teeth. I wrap my arms round his neck. He is my anchor, and I am willing to sink so long as it is with him. With each kiss, he captures the 3 words I'm too scared to say. I hope he can taste them on the tip of my tongue, read them on the curve of my lips, because uttering the words feels like a death sentence. Every person I've ever loved has left me. I'm cursed to lose in love. But that is what I feel for him, what I've felt even when I hated him. Because hating him was easier than hating myself for wanting him. So I bite my tongue. I fight the urge to shout those 3 seemingly harmless words at him. Because wherever I love, people die, and I'd rather love him silently than mourn him loudly. He pulls away, breathing heavy. You need to get out of here. Slipping my dagger from his boot, he crouches before the chain tethering us together. What about you? I stammer. What about your mission? And Kit? Don't worry about me. He wedges the blade between the seam of the cuff around my ankle, trying to pry it apart. I can handle Kit. He already thought I wouldn't be able to bring you back anyway. He did? He huffs humorlessly. Yeah, he figured I would do exactly what it is I'm doing now. Letting you go. He strains against the handle of my dagger. It seems he was right to doubt me. I drop down beside him, crushing poppies beneath me. What does this mean? He doesn't answer, eyes trained on the stubborn chain. Kai, what does this mean? He stops long enough to look up at me. It means you're going to get as far away from here as possible. I'll stall the search for you as long as I can, but you need to find a way to get to Isram by then. I shake my head. No. Yes, Pei. No. My voice is stern. No, I'm sick of running. And I won't spend the rest of my life doing it unless it's you I'm running back to. Then I'll spend the rest of my life tracking you down, he says quietly, glimpsing you in the shadows, fighting you in the streets, dancing with you in my dreams, because living without you is only bearable when I know you are out there still living too. Please, I whisper. Kit won't let me stop hunting you. He puts a hand to my cheek. You have to... He stops abruptly, his head tilting slightly to the side. What? I ask hesitantly. What is it? He says nothing, a muscle ticking in his cheek the only movement. Kai? His eyes meet mine suddenly. They're coming. Who is? Kit must have my men searching the edge of the city for me, he mutters under his breath. They spotted us. 2 flashes, coming fast. My throat goes dry. Kai slings the pack over his shoulders before pulling the bow across his chest. He reaches up to touch my face, but thinks better of it when he glances over his shoulder. I see them now, 2 blurry figures speeding towards us. It feels odd to see abilities at work after spending so many days without them. So many glorious days where everyone was equally as ordinary as I was. Hey, look at me, he murmurs. I turn to meet his hard gaze. I need you to play along. Can you do that? Playing a part is something I'm rather familiar with, I say evenly. He nods. Be smart. I'm going to fix all of this. I promise. Now it's my turn to nod. His eyes flick between mine, and it's a struggle to not throw myself into his arms. You are my proof of a paradise, he murmurs with a quick flick of my nose. Then he turns towards the figures closing in on us, mouthing a single word I barely catch. Pretend. Chapter 47. Payton. It's about time you spotted us out here. Kai's voice is cold, calloused in a way I forgot it could be. He walks ahead to meet the men, dragging me carelessly behind him. Your Highness, one of them stutters, bowing quickly while the other follows. We were expecting you days ago. Thought something might have happened. Kai stares the man down for an uncomfortable moment, crossing his arms over his chest. You're new? The Imperial shifts on his feet. Yes, sir. Kai, the Enforcer, nods. So, you haven't yet learned that questioning my abilities is a sure way to lose your tongue. The man grows paler with each word. So let this be a lesson. A warning. I've seen him treat his Imperials like this before, seen how obvious his disdain for them is, but I hadn't realized how much of it is a facade, a show of power and control. The line between respect and fear is a fine one, and after this disaster of a mission, He's reminding everyone of exactly who he is. "Now get this chain off me," he says simply. The men stumble forward, sliding swords from the sheaths at their sides. I lift my chin as they look me over, the disgust on their faces mirroring my own. The especially ugly Imperial spits at my feet, and I don't hesitate to do the same, only at his face. Blood sprays from my lip when his palm meets my cheek. My head whips to the side where I spit blood to match the poppies surrounding us. When I turn my head back towards the man, I find him face to face with his enforcer. Kai's eyes are like chips of ice, so cold it burns. "Touch her again," he snarls, voice low, "and I'll slit your throat. She's mine." A shiver crawls down my spine at his cold words. He said something similar to his men back in the Scorches, but this time it sounds different. It sounds like unspoken words and secret longing, like he was speaking to me in a language they would never understand. The Imperial nods repeatedly until Kai steps away. I gasp when pain shears across my ankle and look down to find the other Imperial wedging the blade of his sword into the cuff. He carelessly cuts my skin, trying to pry the cuff apart. I bite my tongue to keep from crying out, to keep from giving him the satisfaction of knowing he's hurting me. I can feel hot blood spilling from the cut to pool in my boot. The feel of it has my heart pounding, has my eyes searching for Kai's. He glances up at me, remorse flickering in his gaze. His look alone begs for my forgiveness, pleads with me to hear his unspoken word. Pretend. I look away, blinking down at my boot. The pain only ends when the cuff breaks open with a satisfying click. I blow out a breath as the Imperial lifts his sword from my torn skin. His face is close to mine, white mask obscuring most of it, with the exception of the smirk he flashes at me. Ignoring him, I attempt to roll my stiff and sticky ankle. My foot feels foreign without its restricting jewelry weighing it down. The urge to run is overwhelming, an instinct that consumes every rational thought. "Don't even think about it, girl." The Imperial must have read the thoughts right off my face. He leers at me, daring my feet to take a single step. "You can't outrun me, ordinary." I startle at his words, not because I'm shocked he knows what I am, but because I've spent my entire life dreading the sound of those words from an Imperial's lips. I straighten, refusing to cower. "I've been outrunning you my whole life." His hand twitches, fighting the urge to smack me across the face for the second time. He thinks better of it when the enforcer steps close beside him. "Cuff her." Both Imperials nod before the quieter one begins clamping iron round my wrists. My gaze lifts to Kai's, his mask cold and unfeeling. I think of every moment I told myself I hated him, every moment I was determined to do to him what he did to my father. And then I wear it all on my face. Pretend. "There is a horse waiting for you when we get back into the city, Your Highness." Kai turns to the Imperial. "Good. Let's get moving." An Imperial shoves me forward, nearly sending me face first into the poppies beneath us. I roll my eyes at no one in particular. "Use your words, boys. Us ordinaries don't speak another language, and I'm also quite capable of walking without being pushed." "And why would we waste our breath on you, traitor?" the ugly one says, snickering beside his friend. "If you don't know any big ones, that's okay," I say sweetly. I find that most Imperials don't. I ignore the hatred burning in their gazes and instead focus on the flowers beneath me. The cuffs clank on my wrists, weighing down my arms and chafing against my skin. We walk in silence, the castle looming closer, until the Imperial to my left feels the need to open his mouth again. "I'm looking forward to the king ridding us of you." I keep my expression blank. "Yes, I'm sure His Highness is most excited about my homecoming." He smirks. "All of Ilya is looking forward to it." I swallow, eyes flashing to Kai's bare back ahead of me. He doesn't dare turn, his shoulders tensing with each step. It hits me then, the reality of my imminent death. I don't know how I'll cheat him this time. There is nowhere for me to run. Death can only be fooled so many times before craving revenge. We walk in silence, flowers slowly beginning to wilt beneath our feet. The poppies dwindle with each step, seeming to shrink towards the earth and hide from the city beyond. It's not long before what's left of the fields turns to gravel, which then turns to familiar, uneven cobblestone. Several Imperials linger at the edge of the city, all bowing at the sight of their prince and enforcer. He nods dismissively to the group of men before climbing atop the horse, waiting impatiently for him. A rough hand on my shoulder tears my gaze from Kai and pins it on the Imperials dragging me behind the horse. He holds a long rope in his other fist, the end of it tethered to the saddle Kai sits on. I'm not sure why tears prick my eyes as the Imperial ties the rope round my cuffs, or why I nearly let them fall when the horse begins moving, dragging me behind it. Maybe it's the humiliation of it all, of being escorted to the king like an animal as I stumble behind one. Or perhaps it's the elites that file from their fancy homes to jeer at the traitor, the murderer, the ordinary. I've never seen this side of the city, the side which the offensive populate, the only ones worthy enough to live so close to the castle. I gawk at their homes as I pass. These elites live in excess, while those with less power live in squalor beneath them. I wouldn't be surprised if mundanes are declared the new ordinary, just as father suspected. People point, praising their prince in the same breath they used to curse my name. I shut my eyes against the hatred they wear, tripping over stones as we parade through the streets. Traitor! Part of that resistance cult! King killer! Who will save you now, Silver Savior? I keep my face blank, willing it not to crumble with each insult spit at me. The cuffs rub my wrists raw, while the sun beats down on my damning hair. I keep my eyes on the castle, on the doom I'm slowly approaching. The chants follow us, quieting with each step towards the awaiting king. Perhaps they too fear what it is I've turned him into. What sort of king did I leave them with? When we step into the shadow of the palace, I know it won't be long before I find out for myself. The horse's hooves clop against the cobblestone covering the courtyard. My eyes snag on a cluster of forget-me-nots crowding the stairway into the castle. Memories of a soaking dress, rain dripping from his lips onto mine, forget-me-nots tangled into my hair come flooding back. I look up to where Kai sits, finding him staring at the same patch of courtyard where our lips brushed for the first time. And now I doubt they will ever brush again. We slow to a stop beside the stairs I hope to never have to climb again. All is quiet as Kai swings from his saddle, nodding at an Imperial. The man fumbles with the knotted rope, fingers slipping against the tie. Kai steps beside me, sliding the Imperial's sword from the sheath at his side to cut the rope with a single swipe. I hear the man swallow, and I almost smile despite my circumstance. Kai then pushes the hilt of the sword into the man's palm without a single word before wrapping a familiar calloused hand round my arm. He leads me over to the staircase, quickly swiping his thumb across my skin. Pretend. Words burn in my throat. Words I wish I could say to him before it's too late. I glance over, trying my best to memorize the planes of his face, not knowing if this will be the last time I see it. Or maybe he will be the last thing I see. The one to drive a sword through my heart.
Chapter 48. Kai. What am I walking her into? Heavy doors swing open at the top of the stairs. Imperials greet me with a bow. Duty. That is what I'm walking her into. Because this is no choice of mine. I could have ripped out that Imperial's throat for laying a hand on her. So what is it I'll do if Kit orders me to do something much worse? I can hardly stand the way she looks at me. Hatred burning in that gaze I love. But this is pretend. The only time I've ever pretended with her. Every touch, every dance, every kiss disguised as distraction was anything but, because before I loved her, I longed for her. She was a want I wasn't worthy of, and I'm afraid I'll never get the chance to deserve her. Because now that I have her, I'm giving her away. We step through the towering doors and into the ornate hallway beyond. She looks around, taking it all in as if doubting there will be another chance to. I hate it. Hate that she's already accepted a fate of her deciding. The emerald carpet beneath our dirty boots looks out of place, as does my lack of shirt and Pay's filthy one. My first mission as the enforcer certainly hasn't failed to make me look bad, but I hold my head high, feeling the familiar burn of eyes searching for imperfections. I roll my shoulders, straighten my spine, slip an unbothered mask over my features. Because power is betrayal, and respect is demanded. We continued in the hall, a fleet of Imperials falling behind. The gilded doors grow closer, beckoning us to discover what waits on the other side. Who waits on the other side? I don't know what version of him awaits us beyond these doors. Perhaps the brother I know or the king I now serve. He's unpredictable, unprepared to rule so young, or rather, unprepared to lose a father. And Kit, without his compassion, is a man I don't recognize. I glance over at Peyton's blank expression, but it's her fidgeting fingers that give her anxiety away, relentlessly spinning that ring on her thumb. For her sake, I pray to whatever will bother listening. I pray for my peace of paradise. Her eyes are pinned on me, wide and full of worry. I don't dare change my blank expression, not with so many Imperials standing several feet behind her. But I dare to lift my hand, dare to raise it up to her nose, her body blocking the movement, dare to flick the tip of it one last time, hoping she hears my words hidden within the action. I love you. And then I push open the heavy doors. The throne room is packed with familiar faces. Every person of importance seems to occupy the large room. Some stepping from behind marble pillars to stare at us, dirtying the shiny floor with each step. Noble men and women, advisors of all ages, startle at the sight of us, not because they didn't know we were coming, but because we likely look as though we journeyed through hell to get here. I'm aware of the many makeshift bandages wrapped around my body, each of them stained with blood. I remember promising Father I wouldn't walk into this throne room again without a shirt, and yet, here I am, half naked before the entire court. Though Peyton doesn't look much better. Blood drips down her leg from the deliberately careless Imperial I plan to make pay later. Her shirt hangs from her shoulder, though she's ensured her tank strap covers the scar my father gifted her. The mere thought of it makes my blood boil. Not that anyone would know with the blank mask fastened over my features. Dozens of eyes flick over my figure before slowly finding hers. Disgust burns in each gaze that crawls over her, taking in the scar down her neck, the split lip above, and the short hair that undeniably belongs to the once silver savior. I yank her forward by the arm. Pretend. I am cold and callous. I could not care less about the prisoner staggering behind me. Pretend. The chains binding her wrists clink with each uneven step she takes towards the throne. People part to make way, and I meet every gaze that strays to mine. This crowd is too proud and proper to shout their loathing like those we passed in the streets, but the various looks on their faces speak volumes. Despite holding her head high, Peyton's feet begin to drag with each step closer to his throne, the throne our new king now occupies. She's scared. The thought sends anger shooting through me, though it doesn't reach my face. Try as she might to deny it, I know this version of Kit scares her, this version that she likely blames herself for. I force her to her knees when we reach the bottom of the dais. Pretend. Shackles smack the marble floor, a sound associated with a traitor. She lifts her head slowly, daring to meet his gaze. But his eyes are pinned on me, swiftly skimming over my body. I do the same, taking in the crown atop his head, the throne beneath the ass I used to whoop in the training yard. I'm not sure I'll ever get used to the sight of him sitting in Father's shadow. Welcome back, Enforcer. His smile is small, and I'm not sure whether the formalities are due to the court being present, or if this is to be the extent of our relationship for the rest of this shared life. I was beginning to worry, he says softly. You were expected back several days ago. It doesn't sound like a slight, but it stings nonetheless. At least I always knew when Father was undermining my abilities. As you can see by the looks of us, I gesture to my body and Payton's below. We ran into some unforeseen circumstances. Kit nods. I see. You made it home? Regardless? Of course I did. The words fall harsher than I should have. Your Majesty, I add quickly. And your men? He asks with a tilt of his head. I fold my hands behind my bare back. Unforeseen circumstances. Ah. Kit drums his fingers in the large arm of the throne, looking uncomfortable in the seat. And her? He asks suddenly, nodding towards a kneeling Payton. Leaning forward, he glides his gaze over my face. Any other unforeseen circumstances I should know of?
Chapter 49. Payton. He hasn't looked at me. I've been kneeling on the floor before him, and he doesn't even have the decency to look at me. His hair is disheveled, dull against the golden crown atop his head. It looks uncomfortably heavy, consisting of what must be a dozen gold strands all twisting between one another. I recognize the familiar tangled pattern to represent Ilya's crest, and the use of all powers working together. I fight the urge to roll my eyes at the utter bullshit of it all. And her? He suddenly asks. Any other unforeseen circumstances I should know of? The silence filling the throne room is suffocating. His words ring in my ears, hang in the air between us. But it's the unspoken question that has my eyes widening. He's asking if something happened between the two of us. I fight the urge to look over at Kai, and instead keep my eyes pinned on the king who can't be bothered to look my way. The court surrounding us doesn't seem fazed by the question they only know the half of. I can't imagine we look as though something happened between the two of us. In fact, I would argue that we've never looked more like enemies than in this moment with my bloody kneeling body at his feet. I brought her back, did I not? Kai says evenly. That's not what I asked, brother. I still at the title, feeling the significance of it. That one acknowledgement of what they still are to each other is enough to have Kai's voice softening. No. No other unforeseen circumstances. The lie slides off his tongue, sounding of sincerity. They stare at each other for a long moment, allowing me time to study this king I'm kneeling before. Dark circles smudge beneath his eyes, aging him with nothing more than lack of sleep. His hair is ruffled, sticking up between the strands of his crown as though he's been running his hands through it. Wrinkled clothes lie below an unshaven jaw, while slightly mismatched socks tell me that servants haven't been tending to their king. The faint outline of a box draws my attention to his right pocket, though I can't make out what it is that lies inside. Ink subtly stains his hands, as though he's scrubbed them vigorously, leaving his knuckles cracked and dry. Fingers drum against his chair, his only sign of fidgeting, though his knee occasionally bounces. And his eyes are suddenly pinned on me, green and crisp like fresh dew on a blade of grass. Green and swimming with emotions. Green like those of the king before him, the king who carved his mark above my heart. It seems to sting at the reminder of those familiar eyes full of hatred. But this green gaze I hold is considering, scrutinizing in a way that seems too harsh for the Kit I once knew. But this is not that boy. This is what is left of him. "Good," he says to Kai, though his eyes stay fixed on me. "Because I have special plans for her." Everybody in the room seems to lean in closer in anticipation. This is what they have all been waiting for. My punishment. I swallow, forcing myself to hold his gaze as he stands to his feet. "Ladies and gentlemen of the court, let me reintroduce you to who it is that kneels before you." His voice is soft in the way that powerful people can afford to be, forcing everyone to listen closely. "This is Peyton Gray, once a contestant in the purging trials where she ranked quite highly for a mundane. And to think, a psychic became such a threat to offensive elites." I catch the shaking of heads in my peripheral, but keep my eyes fixed on Kit as he continues. "But she isn't exactly what she seems." Grunts of agreement echo throughout the room. "Not only was your silver savior an ordinary in disguise, but she was a traitor under our noses. Peyton," his eyes flick back to me, "do you confess to not only being a resistance member, but to conspiring with them as well?" I blink, still shocked at him addressing me by name. My throat has gone dry, voice raspy as I manage. "Yes." The crowd gasps dramatically, as if they hadn't already known all this. I'm tempted to tell the king to spare us the theatrics and sentence me to death already. "Not only that," he continues quietly, "but do you admit to killing the former king of Ilia?" My eyes never stray from his. "I do." That has the people murmuring around me, cursing my name between breaths. Kit nods, looking down at the marble floor reflecting my dirty face. The stretch of silence that follows is deafening, and I bite my tongue to keep from filling it. When the king looks up, I see Kit shining through his expression. The sudden shift has me blinking in surprise, blinking at the familiarity of that face. And when I see Kai straighten slightly beside me, I know he sees it too. "This woman, Peyton Gray, has committed atrocious crimes," Kit says, looking around the room. "She killed my father, your king, plunging his own sword through his chest before her dagger through his throat. She conspired with the resistance, a radical group of ordinaries, helping them find a passage into the bowl arena." His eyes find their way back to mine, memories clouding that green gaze. "She lied. She killed. She betrayed." The sting in his voice has me dropping my gaze to the feet that slowly carry him down the steps of the dais. "And I have grieved. I have stepped suddenly into the role of your king while still mourning the former. And yes, my reputation as a crazed king has reached my ears." My eyes lift to his while the throne room grows thick with tension. Uneasy glances flick between the elites, breaths held as they wait for their king to continue. "But I assure you," he finally continues, allowing everyone to breathe again, "that my future decisions are anything but crazed, and I will explain them all to you in due time." When his eyes land back on me, I know my time has come. "Peyton Gray." I duck my head, not wanting to see the words form on his lips. So this is how it ends. Not by the trials, not by the scorches, or bandits, or sewer attempting to drown me, but by the mere word of a king. A king that I created. I wonder if he will make Kai do it. Maybe recreate the death of his father. That only seems fitting. "Stand." I almost don't hear him over my deafeningly dreadful thoughts. It takes several stuttering heartbeats to finally scramble to my feet, wincing at the pain shooting up my sliced ankle. The king's eyes travel up the length of me before landing on my gaze. He pulls that box from his pocket, small and velvet between his fingers. The lid lifts, snapping open to reveal. Nothing could have prepared me for the words that fall from his lips. Not even a real damn psychic. The ring sparkles against the black velvet it sits within. You are to be my bride.
Epilogue. Kai. I think I'm drowning, but not into her blue eyes like I happily would. No, I'm sinking into the floor, letting it swallow me whole. I can hardly breathe under the crushing weight of Kit's words. My ears ring, my heart pounds. The command echoes in my skull, though I have no idea why he would want this. Why he would want her. Not now. Not after everything. And yet, I still want her after everything. I'm surrounded by the entire court, and the only thing I can focus on is not falling to my knees beside her. Marriage. Marriage to someone that isn't me. Marriage to someone I will spend the rest of my life serving. I'll lose her forever while being forced to watch. I can't even look at her. I'm a coward, morphing back into the monster I was when she found me. My vision is blurry, eyes fixed on the dais above. This is how I lose her. Not by death, but by something just as binding. The command rings in my head, and to think I wasted so much time trying to hate her. To think I won't have enough time to love her. My heart aches because every beat belongs to her, and I may never get to tell her that. Is this how she will remember me? Escorting her to this fate? Bound by duty alone? I could laugh. I could cry. I could burn this place to the ground like I did her house, just for a chance to confess my love before the flames consumed me. Because I am bound to her every being, hers until the day she realizes I don't deserve to be. The king's eyes are on me, while mine are somewhere far away, somewhere with her, a place where I am nothing and no one and happy being powerless so long as she is beside me. My gaze falls from the fantasy, finding its way to her. This is not how I will remember us. Not as enemies or traitors or monsters, but as two people dancing in the dark, swaying beneath the stars. Her feet atop mine, her head on the heart that beats only for her. Just Pei and Kai. I step away from her kneeling form, masking every emotion with a blank stare. I'm leaving her to face him, her future husband. I melt into the crowd, standing at a safe enough distance to prevent myself from stealing her away. This will be the rest of my life. Forced to love her from a distance, mourn the loss of her each day. But I will. I will smother every emotion but the one that belongs to her. I will love her until I am incapable of the feeling. She is the torture I may not survive. Eagerly, she is my undoing. Her gaze lifts, meeting eyes that are not my own, eyes of the man that gets to have her, if she allows it. She was supposed to be my forever. Now I'll watch her become someone else's. Because the beast doesn't get the beauty.